This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome back to the Warner Brothers Podcast. I'm Kyle, joined today by my brother Keenan, and we got Brandon Petty with us. What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
Hopeful for a really good Game 7. Still haven't gotten one yet these playoffs. Oh, actually, we got a solid one. Golden State Houston was the best Game 7 we had, if I remember correctly. And that was a solid one.
That was a good game. It was a good game.
It wasn't great, but...
And what's worse is, or wait, the other two, I guess, right? It's just been the Knicks, Nuggets, Clippers, and then today's game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No Eastern Conference series is on 7.
That's right, yeah. So both of these games at one point, both Nuggets Game 7s at one point looked like good games, especially today's, and then until they weren't. So, yeah. Yeah, if you saw Friday's pod, me and Brandon were talking about how, like, oh, man, Game 6 sucked, but at least we got Game 7. At least we got everyone healthy. Nope. Aaron Gordon, hamstring. Okay, all right. Aaron Gordon's going to try to go. That probably won't look good, but hey, still two good teams that deserve to be there. Got the Nuggets up, 6 after 1, I think. At one point, they're up 11. Even going into halftime, it's a 12-14 point game. I don't know what the final score was, but at one point, OKC's up 40.
It was 125-93. So they won by, what is that, 32?
32.
Ugly.
32. Yeah, so for me, this game flipped right at the beginning of the second quarter. And the reason why I say that is, well, right at the end of the first to the beginning of the second, because they put Alex Caruso in. Caruso on Jokic, something you would never be like, yeah, let's do it. But, like, it reminded me of, Kyle, you'll obviously remember this very much so. It reminded me of people, like, trying to tackle Gronk in the sense of everything was just so low and only to its base. Like, Caruso was literally just like, I can't obviously body him, but what I can do is put my shoulder into the back of his thigh, and every time he takes a step, make it uncomfortable, and then we're going to have 6 hands see him within 3 seconds once he tries to touch the ball. Yeah. So, like, it just made me think of Gronk. Like, every time someone went to try to tackle him or do anything, it was like, upper body, we can't do anything. It's only we're going to try to, like, take out his legs. But they had... The reason why I say the second quarter is almost where it got lost was because Denver controlled the game early. It looked like, okay, a team that has been in Game 7s like their regular playoff games with this Jokic Murray. They've been in 6. For context, Steph's been in 7, LeBron's been in 8. So it just shows how many Game 7s that they've already been in their young careers. They were controlling early. They started to make a run. Caruso comes in. He starts to change the dynamic. The beginning of the second quarter, there's no Jamal Murray. There's no Jokic for one singular minute. They go on a 6-0 run, go from down 5 to up 1. And from that moment up forth, the Thunder controlled the rest of the game. And I was thinking to myself, like, they went on a little bit of a run at the end of the first. And then you sit your 2 best players, and it was 3 possessions of no movement, no anything, and a couple turnovers to easy Thunder buckets. And I was like, I did not like that. And to me, that was just where everything switched. And from that point forward, the Thunder fully controlled the game. And obviously we know what they did.
Back. Yeah. Never look back from that point.
It was a pathetic lineup change right there, Keenan. I mean, you're right. Denver's up 6. I noted that too. Like, I saw that. So the lineup, if I remember correctly, the lineup was Westbrook, which is fine. Yeah. Christian Braun, Strother, and Peyton Watson. I didn't understand why you're putting Strother in. Okay, fine. All that is fine. Then they put in Aaron Gordon at the 5, who already can't move and can't protect the rim. I just didn't understand it. There hasn't been many times in the series where they didn't have Jokic or Murray on the floor. I don't understand, especially Jokic. Like, it's Game 7. You're already depleted with Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. injured, but especially Aaron Gordon. Why not just put Jokic on the floor there for 3 minutes till, like, the 10 or 9 minute mark? Then if you want to take him out, go ahead. Swap him with Murray. Maybe give DeAndre Jordan a minute or 2. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go for broken games. And I really can't recall ever seeing that lineup, even with AG was healthy. I don't remember ever seeing Watson and Strother on the floor, unless it was Game 6 when Strother got some minutes. I just never saw that lineup, and it just seemed funny. And like you said, Keenan, Thunder took control. I think they go up one. Denver calls a timeout. They sub, blah, blah, blah. And even still, for another 3-4 minutes, really up until the 2-3 minute mark of the second quarter, it's still a one possession game, two possession game. Uh, then OKC turns it up on defense, especially on the perimeter, and we saw what happened. They get the lead up to, I believe, 14 going into half. Brand, what'd you think? What'd you think about the transition from, I guess, from the first quarter when Denver's taking control of this game into the second quarter and even into the second half?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like Keenan said, it was I think it was exactly like a minute and 23 seconds that they had sat both of them. And like OKC was just kind of honestly like rapid fire, like just getting back bucket after bucket. And I like the first thing I thought of, I was like, well, if you're going to sit them, why not, start with maybe Murray, sit Murray for 2 minutes, and let Braun operate the one, like, if you Gordon out, that's fine. Put Strother and all those guys in, like, that's okay. But you can't sit both of them because, we all knew Denver's depth isn't, very great outside of Westbrook. And it was really, I was really curious because I was like, well, OKC's, they're super deep. Like they're running with Shea, Caruso, with Jalen Williams. They've got Hartenstein and Chet kind of flip flopping. Like it just, I think that kind of showed how the interim coach was a little green in terms of personnel decisions. I don't think Mike Malone would have made a decision like that. Like that's one of the first things I thought of. I was like, I don't think Mike Malone would have done that. Like I think in a game like that, like Murray and Jokic have to play 44, 45 minutes. And with the first quarter ending how it did, with OKC kind of getting a little steam, that tends to carry over. And like I think as a head coach, you can't make that decision to pull your two best players and really your only offense besides Christian Brown. Like you said, Keenan, MPJ wasn't healthy. Aaron Gordon clearly wasn't Aaron Gordon. I understand he crashed the boards well, but he wasn't himself. And really, I agree with what you said, Keenan. Like that game was over at that point. Like it kind of felt like, all right, like OKC's got the lead. Like then you kind of had the teetering back and forth. Where like OKC would go up 3 or 4, Denver will make a bucket, keep it close. And I really felt I was like, well, OKC's about to bust it open. And when they bust it open, that's it. Yeah. There's no coming back from that.
The Nuggets clearly aren't going to win the depth. They're clearly not going to win the health. The way they were going to win this game were get out to a lead early, Jokic be great, Murray be great, and then keep this game close late, and you have the best player on the floor and maybe the second best because Murray can elevate to the level of be arguably the best player on the floor even with the greats on it. Obviously, Shea's overall the better player, but Murray can get to that level. You started the game early, great. Jokic is playing very well. Murray wasn't even playing well at that point. I would have kept pressing the issue because the more the minutes log on, the worse your chances are if the game is like in the balance, because all it took is one OKC run and they're off. You guys don't have the capabilities of playing down. It's like those old Lamar teams. Like Lamar now can throw, so like if they have a 10-point deficit or 10-point, 12, 14-point deficit, they can come back. Yeah. But like always the old Lamar teams is like, we have to play with the lead. So like the running threat of Lamar is still there because the second they get down 10, they get down 14, can Lamar really throw you out of it? This team's not coming back from a 16. Their Thunder's too good and their depth is too good. You cannot do that at this point in time, especially when they're at home. So I thought that point you had to keep the fact that you were up 11, 21-10, I believe it was, or something along those lines. You were up. You've got to keep your foot on the pedal. Get that to 15, get that to 20. So when OKC makes that run, it's down 6 instead of up 3. That's why I hated that portion of switching. Otherwise, but in the end, it didn't really shock me, the end result, because of just how Michael Porter Jr. has one arm, Aaron Gordon has one leg. They can throw 5 bodies at Jokic. And now it's, hey, can you get 40 points out of Peyton Watson Peyton, Watson, Julian Strother, Christian Brown, Russell Westbrook. Can you get 40 out of them? That's a tough ask. So shout out to OKC, though, for being the best team in the league this year and looking like in that Game 7.
I did want to say, too, another thing. When Jalen Williams started heating up, when he was getting those transition dunks and layups, like that's also kind of when I started feeling like, all right, like they're –
Shea you knew was going to bring it because it's Shea. But if you have Chet and Jalen both feeling good, that's the second – that's whatever you want to call them, 1B, 1A for the second guy on the team. Like, if you can keep both of them, like, hindered and both of them feeling like, I'm not in rhythm, that's where you get into it. When you let them get fast break dunks and Jalen Williams is dunking the ball and staring and screaming at the ball like it did something to his family, it's like, okay, well,
like
unfortunately, this game is no longer ours, and we can call up the troops with 10 minutes left in the game. Just come sit on the bench. We don't need you anymore.
What stuck out to me, though, was in that first quarter, how slow Denver was playing. And how Jokic was almost playing 10 feet in. Like, you did not see him catch the ball, like, beyond the three-point line. You didn't even see him catch the ball much at the foul line in that first quarter. And he was I think he had Hartenstein and Chet in foul trouble, if not first quarter, like early second quarter even. Like, because it was still, like, I know we're pinpointing that moment where for whatever reason, Adelman made that line change, like, just incredibly stupid subbing. But it was still a game, like, even 6 minutes left in the second quarter, like, it's still neck and neck. And I don't know, I felt like, it's funny because Brandon messaged me and he said, I'm not really liking the officiating this game. And I actually replied, I was like, you know what, I think they're letting them both be physical, so I don't really mind it. You know what I mean? And you'll have the consistency issues where they'll call something soft and they'll let physical play go. But I thought they were being extra physical with Jokic, which is normal. Jokic is not really – it's hard to officiate players like Jokic and Giannis who initiate
He's in that Shaq, LeBron range now where –
LeBron and prime Shaq, absolutely. What hinged to me, though, Keaton, like when the game got physical, especially on the perimeter, I'm going to be honest, OKC will straight up foul at times. Like, they are just reaching, they're putting pressure on you, they're hand checking. Denver just didn't match the energy. They kind of looked for the refs to bail them out, especially late second quarter, and I was pretty disappointed in that. And in the third quarter, they just did not come out and match the energy. They should have been just as physical on the other end coming out of the third, especially with how that avalanche did happen with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. Like, all right, fine, they got physical with y'all, but you got to bring it back on the other end. And I know they don't really have the horses to do that, but I feel like they still could have made it a game in some form or fashion in the second half.
I think that's where Aaron Gordon's missed. Like we're full peak Aaron Gordon because he's the one guy that athletically, like Christian Brown athletically can run with him, but Aaron Gordon's the one guy athletically who can really get physical with you on the outside and slide his feet and kind of do those things with like Jalen Williams or even Shea. Obviously, he doesn't have the leg to do it. And then like Westbrook's your energy guy, but also Westbrook's not good enough at this point anymore in his career to really be that. I'm super high energy and I can change the complete complexion of a game like that. So I think that's where the Aaron Gordon was missed because you're right. Caruso got physical. Case and Wallace got physical. They didn't match it at all. And that's where
I also think though, like, they just went away from going to Jokic deep in the paint. Like when they had Caruso on him, he's trying to get the ball like 18 feet out rather than 10 feet in, which is where he was receiving the ball in the first quarter. I don't really understand why they try to get more perimeter based. Once they inserted Jokic and Murray back in the game, it was a really weird strategy. I don't know. And then the energy was just gone. It was a really weird game compared to like the Celtics where they just didn't have the energy the whole time in game 6. The Nuggets had the energy, had the strategy, and then just seemed to go away from it. And then again, looked like they wanted the refs to bail them out and wanted to complain too much, which you don't see from a vet team like that. So I was just overall disappointed in their effort from, 4 minutes in the second quarter on. Because, the game was lost at that point.
Yeah, I agree. The switch to what was curious to me is how they tried to go perimeter. I think they were 4 for 20 at one point from threes. Like just from Murray, from MPJ, like it was I was surprised that they didn't try to hammer it inside more, like especially when you're shooting like that. Like I think at some point you got to change up the game plan a little bit.
Yeah. 100%. I 100%
Aaron
agree. You got
Gordon
to
was funny
change up
though.
something.
Aaron Gordon looked like the football player who tries to play like intramurals with like all the basketball kids. Like that's exactly how he was moving. Like at one point, I think it was early. I mean, I'm sure he did this multiple times on the game, but I witnessed it early. He like went to challenge someone, like challenge their three, and they obviously blew by him. Like they went left on him, and instead of sliding, he turned his back and went the other way and like caught him that way instead of sliding his feet. I'm like, oh, I've definitely seen like the bigger football kids who used to play with one came join the intramurals. Like that's exactly how they move when they can't slide laterally. Like I recognize that move right there.
His rebounds were like what you expect grade school rebounds to be. Like instead of actually like he got 11, and like shout out to him for gutting it out. But like typically his rebounds are half of them are head at the net, head at the rim. Like he just gets up for him because it's Aaron Gordon. All of them were like a lot of them were Jokic rebounds where it's like I'm going to put my body into you, lean this way, and let the ball drop to me. But I'm obviously not Jokic height. Like I'm just a 6'9" guy, so like I'm gonna just kind of let it fall to me. Look like Zach Randolph getting rebounds, but no, shout out to him. Really,
he gave him quality minutes too early. Like
absolutely,
not take advantage of the stuff they actually got because it could have been ugly way earlier than what it was. And I felt like they really did squander an opportunity, maybe not to win, but to make it a ball game.
I agree. And so the Thunder do move on, obviously, in blowout fashion in Game 7, and they wait, and they're going to see a rested Timberwolves team who is now probably on their way close to getting their bags packed to go to OKC. What do you guys think about this series? Who do you favor in this series? And we can probably get the verdict at the end, but we'll start with you, Brandon. What do you like about this series, and who do you favor in this series?
So I like the matchup. I think it's going to be a very physical matchup. Like both basketball teams play a brand of physical basketball, and they're both big teams too. Like I think OKC is a little bit deeper than Minnesota. Obviously, I think OKC is the deepest team in the NBA. I think you have star power, Ant and Shea, two young faces of the league, and a lot of good complementary players too. Julius Randle, Jade McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, and obviously for OKC, Chet, Jay Will, and the list keeps on going. I think it's a good matchup. They played 4 times in the regular season. They split 2-2. It was an even series split. I didn't look at the home away splits, any of that stuff. I think it'll be a good series. I really do. I think Ant's going to show out as usual. I think Julius Randle has to be big for Minnesota. And then they've got to get, complementary scoring from either Jade McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, somebody. And then obviously OKC, I think all the eyes are going to be on OKC, especially for me because I want to see, how they continue to perform in the playoffs because they still are, they're a very young team. As we talked about earlier, like they showed in the Game 7 stats, like there's only 3 players on OKC that have played in Game 7s. And I think it was Shea, Caruso, and Jalen Williams or somebody.
Hartenstein probably.
Hartenstein.
I think last year he was last year Knicks Pacers. He was on that team last year Knicks.
Yeah, he was on it.
Yeah, okay, that's why that was good. Just making sure. I wasn't sure if it was 2 years ago or last year. I was thinking to last year could have played in that Game 7.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good series. I think they both match up well on paper. I think it's just going to be a gritty like slugfest. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be high scoring though.
Who you got?
I've got the Thunder in 7. I think like I could see it being a 6-game series. But I don't think Anthony Edwards is going to allow that. I really think Ant's going to be good. I wouldn't be surprised if he averages anywhere from 29 to 32 in this series because I think he's going to have to be that big because I don't think Minnesota matches up with OKC depth-wise and personnel-wise. Like they match up with size, obviously, with Gobert and I guess if you want to throw Nas Reed in there and McDaniels. But I think OKC wins in 7. I just think they're going to be too much for Minnesota.
Brad, I gotta say, I disagree with you. I think they match up personnel wise very well. I love the way Minnesota matches up with OKC. Actually, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a 7-game series. I think it's a 50-50 series. I definitely agree with you on the physicality too. Like I think we're going to see some extremely low scoring games, like some ugly games, which is funny because like each team can score, but I think the perimeter defensive prowess from each team is going to allow us to like see some ugly low scoring games, like some 92-90 or 92-88 type games. Um, and that being said, man, Minnesota's got size to throw at OKC, especially when I mean, they don't really have anyone to like. Naz Reid ain't gonna back Chet down, so Chet doesn't really have to worry about post defense. So in a way, it's a good matchup for him. But the fact that you can have Gobert and Naz Reid, who's just like he's almost like a
Maybe.
wild card in Uno. The way he's 6'11" and can shoot the three, get to the rim, and he's like a decent defender too. Like Naz Reid can just like unlock so many things.
He's kind of Chet.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, in a way. He's
I
like
mean, obviously, like Chet's more defensively kind of based.
For sure.
Nas is more offensive based, but like they're kind of Chet because like Chet can do all the things offensively, but defensively he's gonna be a better shot blocker and things like that. So he's kind of a Chet, just the offensive version.
For sure. I mean, I mentioned this to Brandon. You look at the way Minnesota attacked the Lakers. Like they just looked. That's the first thing that stood out to me in the first round was like how physical they were. And I'm like, man, this looks like a conference finals team. Like they look like they could just be a late round playoff team, win or lose. Like they just look built for that. So I'm gonna roll with the Timberwolves in 7. It's almost kind of the same way I was looking at it 2 months ago when I said I would pick Denver against OKC, or why I like the Clippers even against OKC. Obviously, Denver didn't have the horses, but Julius Randle, he can make crunch time shots for you. Naz Reid can make crunch time shots for you. Brandon, we were talking Friday about Jaden McDaniels. He's not afraid to take shots late in games and make shots late in games. That being said, if you got these Mike Conley minutes and they can just dog the fuck out of him when he's bringing up the ball. I mean, if they gave Jamal Murray problems, they can absolutely give Conley problems. And Conley's actually had a good postseason so far, somewhat surprisingly. I think it's going to be a good series, but I think I trust the T-Wolves shot makers more, especially if you're telling me each defense is really good. So I give the edge to the T-Wolves.
I'm in the middle right now. I really don't know. I'm going to talk my way into an answer because, like, to me, this is kind of going to come down to the second option. And I mean that because when you go, say, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys on the roster, like Alexander Walker can hit a big shot. McDaniels can hit a big shot. Like, all these guys have made big plays. DiVincenzo, we know, can make big shots. Then on the other side, we've seen Caruso make big plays. We've seen Cason Wallace made big plays. We just saw Aaron Wiggins can make some big plays. Ian Williams can make some big plays off the bench. Like, so in both scenarios, you've got players and guys, role players who can make big plays 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Obviously, you've got Rudy Gobert and Hartenstein, who guys kind of cancel each other out because they're going to play defense. They're going to rebound. I mean, Gobert is not the offensive threat that Hartenstein is. I mean, because he's got that 82% lefty floater. Apparently, that's the best thing. That's the best thing since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As I say, best thing since Kareem's hook. Like, it's just apparently, it's just like, oh, they put the Dirk fade right there in that bucket with it. But but I think it's going to come down to, I think Naz Reid and Chet kind of almost cancel each other out in a sense-ish. Because, again, we talked about how they do a lot of different things. A lot of this, I think, is going to come down to, like, can Julius Randle stay as good as he has been? Because he's been everything of what New York wanted him to be in that. And I think it's because he's in a different system. He's finally healthy. He's a better player and a more mature player than he was in the past when he was playing with the Knicks in those playoff series. So can he become and still continue to be what he has been? Or can Jalen Williams actually be what he was today, what he was, I think, in Game 3?
Yeah, it was
I think it was Game 3. Like, can he be that guy, or is he what he was for the other part of the series? And with that being said, I'm actually going with Minnesota in 7, even though I think I'm going Minnesota in 7 because I actually have a little bit more faith in Julius Randle than I do right now in Jalen Williams, which is weird to think and say.
I don't see any
I
way
totally
the
get that,
series
especially
goes.
the series that Williams had. Like honestly, like
Yeah.
I do not hate that answer. I mean, he only had 2 good games. Like
Yes,
I
it comes down like because obviously Shea's gonna play well, Ant's gonna play well. One will play better here, one will play better there. That's fine. Your role players will be fine. Obviously, it doesn't always come like linear. Like, oh, this guy cancels out this guy, and this guy cancels out this guy. I mean more so like game 3. It's like, oh, Jaden McDaniels has a huge game in Minnesota, and then it's like, oh, game 5, Isaiah Joe has a big game, and Lou Dort hits 4 threes, and like. So that's where they cancel each other out. And I think it's going to come down to which complementary star can play its best between those two who can be more consistent for their roster. And I'm going to lean Julius Randle, especially what I've seen the last 2 series. Even Draymond on his pod was like, yeah, no, Julius Randle got the better of me. And like, he did. Like, no, Julius Randle looked.
Draymond. He's gonna work. He should work. I mean, Chet's a good defensive player. I don't want to make it sound like that, but Draymond is still like 95% of like what prime Draymond defensively. You know what I mean? Like he's still one of the better defenders in the league, and Julius Randle made light work of him. For me, like besides Ant, like look at the crew Ant has. Like if you say it out loud, like all right, Ant, Gobert, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think that was 7 players I just named. All 7 have big game experience, and all 7 are like talented. That's a crew. Like, so when you got that experience going up against OKC, who again we seen it. You just said it with J-Dub, had 2 good games really, and he 2 good games offensively. Like he did play good defense all series.
Yeah.
He rebounded well. But it will be like that with Chet and J-Dub. Like it's a lot to expect out of them to have 7 good games or 5 out of 7 good games even, right? Whereas SGA, we know he's going to play well. But that being said, the Timberwolves are just that good defensively to where you could have a night for Shea where he's like 12 for 30, 12 for 28, 9 for 28, that sort of thing. They're that elite defensively to where they're going to give them problems. So not only are they going to need to step up, but they're going to need to step up against a physical elite defensive team.
They're playing just a much better version of the Memphis Grizzlies. Just kind of like, I mean, because Memphis obviously has that kind of, and Memphis kind of gave Shea fit.
I'd argue they're playing a more grizzled version of themselves, an older version of themselves. I see a lot of similarities in these teams. I truly do.
No, and that's the thing about this. I really love this series. Is going to be so much fun, and I like it too because this is going to sound weird, but it's going to be more of a traditional series. I feel like when you have players like Steph or you have players like Jokic, and I say those people specifically, you have to build your entire defense on stopping that one offensive force.
Yep.
And obviously, don't get me wrong, Ant's amazing. You gear your offense or your defense to stop him, to force him into different looks. But because they have so many other players that actually can beat you, you kind of have to play things straight up. And like Caruso, we have to trust the fact that you can go one-on-one with Ant sometimes. Or we have to trust the fact, like, they're never really like, hey, we're just going to trust the fact that you're going to get Jokic one-on-one. It was always 2, 3, 4 bodies on one possession that he was seeing. So I think this is going to be the most like beautifully ugly series we're going to see, because I think it's going to get ugly, but I also think it's going to have beautiful basketball to it as well, and it's going to be great. It's going to have like a 90s feel to it, but also like today's kind of NBA like infusion. So it's going to be a mix of like all the best basketball eras coming together, because you have athleticism, you have shooting, you have defensive tenacity, you have coaching, you have like all of that kind of stuff. So
I think it's a good coin flip series. Like honestly, like I really like think you can make a case for both teams.
The one thing that would surprise me in the series is if it doesn't get if what team won in 5. That I don't care either way. That would shock me.
Yeah.
6 would even a little bit surprise me, but like 6 you can get to like, okay, one team's just showcasing like who's playing better. Maybe Julius Randle comes back down to earth or a little bit, or maybe Jalen Williams doesn't have it or something 6. But like if a team won in 5, of course it's sweet. But if a team won in 5, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
But like I'm expecting 6, most likely 7. That's kind of where I'm like at minimum 6 for this series.
I'd say if I was betting, I'd bet on a 7-game series. Like
Same.
it's just hard. Like I could see it being a 6-game series either way, but like I just think it has the makeup of a 7-game series.
Yeah, like this has the makeup of like a 7-game classic.
Yeah.
Like one of those 7-game classics, like where you're like, oh, okay. And it's like Shea, the new MVP of the league, he's probably gonna win it. Obviously, we don't know, but most likely gonna win. He's like minus 10,000. So like then a new MVP of the league, the 68 win team, or you have the guy who is baby Jordan. Is he gonna become the face of the league? Kind of. He just beat Steph's team. He beat LeBron and Luka last year. He beat Jokic, and it's like these two kind of powerhouses are coming to a head in the Western Conference. So it's going to be fun. This is going to be probably maybe the best series of the entire playoffs, honestly.
You mentioned MVP, and I'll say this, like I'll wrap this up with this series, the Denver series. I felt more encouraged that Jokic is the true MVP of the league watching the series. I mean, he's holding everything together for Denver. Whereas Shea, SGA, is just, he's obviously the lead guy. He's obviously the best scorer. He's obviously still top 5, top 3 in the league, whatever. MVP, though, I think if he does, in fact, win, I think as the years go by, I just think it's going to look insane. I really do. Like, there's
got
such
that
a well
Mike
put together
97, 98 feel to it when
sort of. I mean,
when Karl Malone won it that year, but then obviously Mike. Wait, no, 97, 98 would have been.
I think it was the year after they went 72-10 because they followed it up with like an insane
96, 97. I was saying it wrong, but 96, 97 because Mike won it in 97, 98. Yeah.
This one's just like 2016. You think of Curry because Curry, like, you know, he went supernova that year and they went 73-9, right? Like, I'm gonna think when you ask me about the 2025 NBA campaign, I'm gonna think of Jokic before SGA. Now, I might think of the Thunder before any other team because the Thunder were dominant this year. But if you're asking me for a singular player, much like 06 Kobe, I'm thinking of 2025 Jokic before I think about 2025 SGA for sure.
So I agree with you as of this moment. The only thing that might change mentally, because we always like to infuse the playoffs together too. I know it's obviously regular season more, but like if Shea has like a phenomenal conference finals and then averages like 33 in the playoff and like the finals and wins it, I think then it'll feel better. But as of this moment, I agree. I'm just saying I agree with you as of this moment right now.
And even in the matchup we just saw, I thought out of 7 games, I thought Jokic was the better player, maybe even the more dominant player. And that's, again, not to take anything from SGA. 9.5 times out of 10, that's an MVP season what SGA just put together. It just happened to go against Jokic's best season. Like, we might not see a better season from Jokic. I mean, who knows? Because he's just fucking insane at this sport, and this league is, for whatever reason, too easy for him. So we could get a better year from him next year. And to wrap it up with Denver, honestly, real quick, I know we just talked about OKC, Minnesota, but I think Denver, depending on who their GM is, I think they're still in good hands. Like, I don't think they're on the downside of anything. Like, when they showed Jamal Murray, Jokic, and AG sitting there at the end, I'm like, no, they still got something to work with here. Like, there's still something to turn this franchise like back into a championship contender. I think they're still there, but it'll be interesting to see where they go.
They don't have money. That's the problem.
They don't have money, and they don't really have trade assets either, low key.
No, that's the thing about them is they haven't gone into like the luxury tax like as of obviously the last few years, and a lot of these great teams you've seen kind of go, and obviously that's kind of what the second apron was like. That's why you have the first apron and the second.
As much as they're
they just also let important players go every year. Like that's just. They've just continuously okay, we win a championship, we're going to let Bruce Brown go. Okay, the next year we make a run, we're just going to let KCP go. And then, like, obviously they're going to try to develop players, and that's perfectly fine. But just, like, I don't know. They just continuously are letting people go. And then you've got Jokic next year making 55, Murray 46, Porter Jr. 38, Aaron Gordon 22. So, like, I could see them trying to move off of Porter Jr. to try to get multiple pieces.
I could see that, and then being active on the like buyout or mid-level market.
Yeah.
Because I really do think, and like you said, the strategy of drafting players, like I feel like a lot of people, it's hard to do that. Like OKC, with how a lot of their guys are draft picks. A lot, at least more of their bench guys, some of their starters too. Obviously, it is very hard to do that. Like I think the success ratio is super low doing that, and when you're picking in the 20s, I mean, it's hard to find quality rotation players. I think they need to redo the bench unit. Like I think. I guess Westbrook is fine. Outside of Westbrook, like Strother to me is kind of like just like a league average, maybe below average guard.
Watson seems decent.
Like Peyton Watson's decent, but like I don't know if you have anything there. Like I don't know what the ceiling is for him. Like I agree. Like if you could move Porter Jr. for somebody,
I also don't think Denver has a pick this year.
I think it's
no. Like I don't think I'm looking at. I don't think they actually have a pick. I think their pick right now is outgoing to Orlando. That's what I think.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing. So like I don't think they can even do really anything in the draft. Like while OKC has the 15th pick in the draft. So like OKC
and they almost had a top.
They almost had a top six, yeah. Because if the Sixers pick was not within the top 6, they would have gotten that pick too. So like OKC has the chance to go get one of these young French guys who in 2-3 years is going to be a nice player, and then Denver, I don't even think can build anything in the draft unless they trade for something. I don't even think they have a 2nd-round pick. I literally think that they don't have even a pick this year in this year's draft. So like they're gonna have Michael Porter Jr. might be the odd man out, because he's making $38 million next year, and that's a lot of money.
That is. I mean, honestly, like that's.
So I think you might be the guy that like you might see him get moved. I mean, or they're just going to try to run it back, get a guy on a cheap minimum, and hopefully that guy on the cheap minimum is going to do what Jeff Green did for the Cavs in 2018. Like, just hope that that's what they can get. Because, like, that's pretty much kind of their routes for success. And then just say, hey, Jokic, 30, 12, and 10. You can get us to at least the 2nd round.
Weirdly, you are able to fall into more minimum, like, impact vet guys now, just with how they set up. Yeah. You're almost set up for, like, either big contracts or minimum guys, because there's not really – you can't really do the mid-level exception for, like, quality guys anymore. So it's really weird how the league's set up. And more every year – this just feels like the NFL with these injuries to star players. It's going to be the same thing this year again. Every year, the 2020s, we're going to have a new champion. Now we're going to be halfway through the decade. So, I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting to see how the league's turned. I mean, the regular season, we've talked about it. The regular season's just not what it used to be, clearly. Like, clearly the players don't care. But the postseason product's still just as good as it's ever been, minus the star injuries.
Thing about it too, Kyle, real quick, is I think every year in the 2020s, the next team the team next year hasn't gotten to the conference finals.
That's great. Yeah, that you don't see. That's
because the Lakers in 21 lost to the Suns the first round. The Suns in Suns in 21 and 22, they lost to Dallas in the 2nd round. The Golden State Warriors didn't even make the playoffs. Oh no, they lost to the Lakers in the 2nd round after they beat the Kings. Then the Nuggets, they lost to the Timberwolves in the 2nd round, and then the Mavericks, obviously, I mean the Celtics just lost. And then the Bucks. The Bucks was the other team, but the Bucks lost to the Celtics in the 2nd round. The next team hasn't even gotten to the conference finals yet. So
you don't see that. That's super rare. You could almost it's similar to the NFL. NFL's a little harder, but usually you can pencil in the champion and even like the runner-up for, if not the conference finals, like a deep semifinals run. But for sure, like the champion, you can usually, unless something drastic happens, pencil them in for the conference finals. So the fact that the winner hasn't even made the conference finals, and really hasn't even scratched it. Honestly.
The runner-up also, to be honest, hasn't made the conference finals other than Boston in 23, and they lost to the Heat in 7, but really almost got swept. So, like, since there has been obviously a repeat to go to the finals since the Golden State Warriors, and those are the KD Warriors, and since that KD year, we haven't had a team even get to the. That's crazy.
Wow,
They haven't even gotten to the conference finals since. That is crazy.
that's true parity and true. I mean, I'm sure injuries had a lot to do, or some to do with some of
And
these
some
early exits. But
COVID too, a little bit, because obviously
COVID's so
how short the season was. Because
those
from
two,
that,
those 2 seasons were super weird, or especially
because
the end of 20 leading into 21, because it was like a month and a half off season.
Yeah, because the 4 teams that were in the conference finals the year before didn't even make it to the second round. None of them. So literally like the next year, so like the Lakers, the Heat, the Nuggets, and the Celtics, those 4 teams didn't even that next year. It was one of those. It was one of the weird things where it was. Like,
I think the Nuggets were without Jamal Murray that year.
Yeah,
it was kind of fell off.
Yeah, it was just one of those weird things where it was like, oh, okay, this is just really weird. And then the next year is when it's like that's so crazy. You haven't even had an NBA Finals team make the conference finals since, and shows how difficult the league's gonna be.
Speaking of conference finals of the past, let's talk about Knicks Pacers. Brandon, you actually gave us your preview on Friday for Knicks Pacers. If you want to reiterate that real quick.
Yeah, so I have the Pacers. I had the Pacers in 7, I believe. I could honestly see it being Pacers in 6, but I'm going to go with 7 just to be safe. I think that the Pacers, on paper, obviously are way deeper than the Knicks. I think a lot of people, to what Keenan said earlier, I think a lot of people are going to come into this series hyping the Knicks up and just writing off the Pacers. I feel like a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to the fact that the Pacers just beat the Cavs in 5 games. I think a lot of people are going to chalk it up to the injury bug for Cleveland. I think, I mean, Indiana does everything. They've got shooting, they've got defense, they've got playmaking. They've got a really good bench unit. Kyle, you and I talked about the bench unit on Friday. It's TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin, Jarace Walker, and somebody else. There's a 5th player that I'm missing. Like all of them, especially Mathurin, and possibly Obi Toppin. Like a lot of these guys, they could go start on some teams, and a lot of them would play quality minutes on other playoff contenders as well too. I think defensively too, I think they match up. Like I think Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam can give Cat problems, and I know Cat's been good in the playoffs, but we've seen it before. Like Cat will disappear sometimes, especially with Miles Turner. Like Miles Turner's physical, Siakam too. Like I just think with those 2 guys rotating off on Cat, and with more so with Pascal, like the perimeter game, Cat's not a very good defender either. So I could see them going at him on the defensive end. And then I just think not New York. I think Indiana has more between Hallie, between those 2, between Neesmith, between Nembhard. Like Andrew Nembhard has been spectacular in the playoffs so far. Super underrated player. I just think a lot of people are going to write off Indiana. I think Tyrese Halliburton shows up. I was telling Kyle the other night, like I wouldn't be surprised, like if it was one of these series where like Halliburton kind of asserts himself more as a scorer than what he typically does. I know he's kind of around that 17 to 18 a game. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and puts up 23 to 25 a game. I know that's not typically his game in the way he plays, but I think if he does that, I think it unlocks a layer for Indiana that like a lot of people don't typically see, because in those games where he puts up 25 to 30, like it's very hard to beat them, especially with everything he's got around him. And if he's not putting up, 25, 30 points a game, like he's got all these good players around him. Like Kyle said on Friday, like a lot of people forget about Pascal Siakam. Like he's already got a ring. Like he's super good, super underrated.
Big in that ring too.
Yeah, and like a lot of people just forget about him for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of market or maybe he's not a popular player, like whatever. Honestly, like a lot of people just write that team off and those players off. And like I think that's dangerous, especially like if you tend to overlook a team like that with players of that caliber and depth. And I think eventually New York's going to run out of gas. I mean, you can't keep on playing your starting 5 for 40 minutes a game. Like eventually they're going to go tired. Eventually shots are going to stop falling, fatigue's going to set in, and a lot of people know whenever you start to feel fatigued, you start to lose focus, and I think that happens. So like I said, I think Indiana 7. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 6. I think Indiana's that good.
Yeah, you just mentioned Siakam again, and we talked about it Friday. It's just like the more I'm thinking about it, you never hear people introduce him as NBA champion Pascal Siakam. Like it's almost like he never won that ring. And like Keenan said, he was the number 2 guy on that team. So I don't understand it. Keenan, how do you feel about the series?
Hold on. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay. So I believe I just did this really quickly because I wanted to kind of bolster Brandon's point. I believe the Pacers this year are 25 or if not 24-3 when Halliburton scores 20 plus. So like when he is in the offensive attack mode, that's when this team gets to a whole nother level. Because the thing with Halliburton is he is one of the 3 best pure point guards in the league. He's going to make the right pass. He's going to make the right play, can get downhill, looks to get his teammates involved, and is not afraid. There are some times where he gets even a little bit too passive, but like he is not afraid to go and make everybody else, hey, Nembhard, I trust you. Nesmith, I trust you. Miles Turner, I trust you. Siakam, I trust you.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Who's the other 2?
What do you mean?
Who's the other 2?
Oh,
you said top 3.
My other 2 pure, if you're counting at the point guard position, I was thinking Jokic, and then I was thinking Jokic, and then honestly Harden would be the other 2 to me. Like I think Harden, when he's like, you have to obviously get playoff Harden out of your head, but like when Harden is playing point guard, he's one of the best pure point guards in the league. Obviously CP3 is still in the league, so CP3 is still great. And then to me, I'm still thinking Jokic. Jokic is like a point center to me. So
going by position, I couldn't think of anyone ahead of Tyrese Halliburton.
So and if maybe you're going,
maybe Trae Young not ahead of him, but he's only
so
did the Rock like that.
Mm-hmm. So yes, I would agree with you though. I would agree with you, but like if we're going just position wise, he's probably the best like pure point guard in the league. But I just think this Indiana team has too much to offer the Knicks. They can do anything. And the thing about their team and how they've built it, everybody can make plays with the ball in their hand.
Yeah.
Even down to Miles Turner. He can make plays with the ball in his hand. Siakam can't. So that's what there are 5 dangerous players on the floor at all times to score. All times. And even like off the bench, like TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin has grown his game. Ben Shepherd can even make a play here. And that's the thing about this. And as the Indiana Pacers are just slept on overall. They have a slept on coach in Rick Carlisle. Very good coach. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton's the most overrated player in the league, I'm sure. But just overall, this entire team is slept on, and it's going to be a Knicks frenzy because people are ready for the New York Knicks to be in the finals. Especially, so all mainstream media all week, you're going to be like, Knicks in 6, Knicks in 5, Knicks in 6 is going to be what you hear. There's Knicks in 6. I can feel it now. And I've got Indiana in 6, and I'm not going to lie to you, it would not shock me if they won this in 5. I truly think that just Indiana is just a better team. Like, you have the 5, and I get the 5 for the Knicks is really good. Like, their starting 5 is really good. But the Pacers can match that, and they have no depth. It gets Deuce McBride or nothing. That's it. And and this team, the way they play in transition, they can get on the break. We saw what they did to Cleveland in Game 5. It was 80-38.
Yeah,
they can put it.
Cleveland's good. Like Cleveland, I know they were banged up, but they were still out there. That was not like Denver was truly banged up, right? Like truly banged up. Gordon couldn't move, and we know Porter Jr. has been playing with one arm basically. Cleveland. Mobley was hurt, came back after, I think, 1 game. Yeah. Garland, okay. Garland might have been a little more hurt. He had turf toe. Yeah, that's hard to move. He's not your point of attack defender. Everyone else who's out there for defense was out there, and they still could just run it up whenever the hell they wanted on Cleveland and on Milwaukee.
They beat the Heat. They beat the Heat by literally a record margin of points. Like they historically beat, like they were a historic team in the first round, and the same team lost in 5 to the Pacers because the Pacers are playing such high level basketball. Like that's just, I think that the Pacers are going to get slept on. And then when it comes to the finals, whatever team comes out of the West, they're going to say whatever that team is in 5. And then the Pacers can hold up the trophy, and it's going to be like, well, Boston wasn't there. Cleveland was hurt. This team was a fluke. This team could win the finals in a sweep, and they'd be like, I don't know about them. I swear this team's, I don't know. Like, I'm just doubting them. But no, I think the Pacers are just a better team than the Knicks. And I've thought this for a while, because we talked about this, Kyle, even months ago, and I was like, I think the Pacers could beat the Bucks and give even the Cavs a tough time. We talked about this 3 months ago.
Yeah, I heavily, especially in the first round, I slept on the Pacers. I thought they were more of a finesse team. And honestly, like, the way they push the ball, how relentless they've been, it almost gives credence to their defense, because they're not a go out and stop you like OKC or the Timberwolves, or even like the Knicks can be. The Knicks can be like that a little bit with their 3 wings. But they play collective defense, and they just swarm you. They get you to play at their pace to where you're rushing, and then before you know it, it's a turnover. Okay. Because they're maybe not as good defensively, we got an open 3. Boom. But if we miss that, Pacers are off and running. I was trying to think, I've been trying for literally this whole playoffs to try to like pick an NFL comparison for this Pacers team. And the best that I can do, it would be like, you remember that one year, the Pats, I think it was the year we faced the Giants the second time. They ran a no-huddle offense the whole entire year. Like, that was their offense. Like, they'd run pretty much the K-gun offense. It would be like if you took the team, that Miami team a couple years ago that beat the Broncos, but like they dropped 70 on them. Mm-hmm. So if you took Achane and Tyreek Hill and Waddle when they were like at their healthiest and they were just like running it up on teams, if that was a no-huddle offense, that's what this Pacers offense is like. Because they are just relentless, man. As soon as they sweep the ball from a rebound or even through the net off a made basket, they are pushing. They're pushing, and they're getting open shots even in the half court. Even off a make, and they're pushing. They're getting open shots. It's very, very, very rare that this team gets bad shots. And
because they have the guy who doesn't get him bad shot. Like, Halliburton might not be aggressive, but he can still get you pretty much a good shot on almost every possession.
But that's been the difference between this year and last year, is he's been much more aggressive. There were some times 100%. Last year he'd pass the ball and he'd stand 35 feet from the basket.
And it makes you think more how much was his leg hurting. Like last year. Fine. No, I agree. Like, it's still, if you're out there and you're playing, you still got to play. Like, so like I was with you last year when we were talking about this, but like it almost, this year makes you like think about last year, like, oh, this isn't a fluke. Like, this is kind of just how it was, and it kind of gives you the answers the same way as we were talking about the Celtics team. Obviously, it's a little different because obviously it Tatum with the ruptured Achilles, but like you didn't get to see the full totality of it because we all think they could have came back from 3-1. Like, at least I think it. Brandon, I heard you think it. Kyle, maybe. You think?
I think it would have been a much better Game 6. The Game 6.
Yeah, okay, at least so they might have won Game 6. But anyways, yeah, it's just one of those things where like what you do now is giving credence to what you did before. What the Warriors did in 15-16 basically made them say like, oh, that wasn't a fluke championship. That was a real like that team's a real team. And now no one ever questions like, oh, were the Warriors in 14-15 a real team? No, we all know they're a real team. But like, so like the Pacers are kind of showing like, yeah, no, we're actually really good. Like, we actually have got players, and they got some, like, they're going to be good for a while too. Like, they've got some picks, they've got some young talent. They've be nice.
And I would say on the Knicks side of things, like what you'll hear to go with Keenan's like mainstream media thing. All right, what you're going to hear is that they played last year and won 7.
Yep.
The difference is, and I'm trying to give the Knicks some props here. Okay, so the Knicks, they had a deeper team last year, right? That was part of the reason. And they actually had OG hurt last year. He only made it, Doris mentioned it today, he only made it 1 sprint down with his torn hamstring last year. He couldn't go. And I think it was a closer Game 7, but I think it was a decisive win for the Pacers. As Brandon said, as Keenan said, you heard us say it on Friday too. I've said it all year, like literally since the Cat trade. I've said this. Knicks only have 6 players. If you would have asked me at any point over the course of this year, I would have said, yeah, at the trade deadline, Knicks are going to get their 7th guy, and then, we can kind of assess from there. They never got it. I'm truly astonished that they're at this point. If it would have been Knicks Cavs, I think we all would have picked the Cavs in 5 or 6. The Pacers have looked impressive. The Knicks are, again, I want to credit them to where the Celtics flubbed games 1 and 2. Knicks earned the right to be up 2-0, right? But they were also down 20 in both games, down big in game 3, which the Celtics won. Game 4 was really their only good game of the series, obviously. Game 5, they were down big. And then game 6, okay, yeah, that was their second biggest game, but they just put it on the Celtics the entire game. You got 2 good efforts out of the Knicks in a series they won. Who'd they play first round? Refresh my memory.
They played the Pistons, and they beat them in 6.
Pistons, and that series could have gone either way. Pistons were right in that series, and
so if game 4 changes and the Tim Hardaway in the corner changes, like that's a 7-game series probably.
And I don't want to hate on the Knicks, but they got 6 players, and they're facing a team that's not only deep but plays a style of play. We say it all the time. Styles make fights. That's why we love this OKC Minnesota series. It's gonna go 7 because they're both heavyweight hitters. They're both dogs, right? It's just, I don't know where the Knicks match up unless you're telling me, and we haven't seen this yet. We haven't seen a game where it's like, oh, Jalen Brunson went for 30, Cat went for 25 and 15. Like we saw that in the regular season. Yeah. We haven't seen one game where it's like everything is on, all cylinders for the Knicks. We haven't seen that, and we won't see that because Cat's going to get in foul trouble. He always does. Played well offensively.
That's the thing, and they have no depth if Cat gets in foul trouble, which will be him just in transition. They're not going to have anything.
Mitchell Robinson, and that's a steep fall off.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely.
The pick and roll players.
And the thing about it too is, sorry, real quick. The thing about they can't get. The Pacers are not like unblowoutable, but they're really hard to blow out because of how fast paced and like how good of shooters they really are. That's kind of like you typically aren't going to blow out the Thunder. You're going to play close games with the Thunder, and like you are going to hope that with the Thunder, it's like okay, they're inexperienced and their own it's only Shea, but like the Pacers actually do have experience. They have an experienced head coach. They have Siakam, who's won a championship. Miles Turner's been in the league for a decade. Tyrese Halliburton, we saw against the Bucks and against the Cavs make big plays down the stretch. This team, so the Knicks aren't going to have any games where you're like, oh, Knicks up by 30 and just comfortably stay up by 30. And if it's close games, I understand that like Jalen Brunson won Clutch Player of the Year. Tyrese Halliburton's been like 10 of 11 and like he's been elite in late game situations, and the Knicks are easily blowoutable. Like if Jalen Brunson's cold and they're not really shooting from the outside, there's going to be a game where this Pacers team wins by 30 plus because they just rout them.
If they did it to the Cavs, they can do it to the Knicks.
So that's the thing. Like you can't. It's the kind of like how it was Nuggets Thunder, where like. The Nuggets were never blowing out the Thunder. They were going to have to win 4 close games, but you trusted it because it was like, okay, they have the best player in the world in Jokic. They have a proven killer in Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, a vet, Michael Porter Jr., seasoned guy in the playoffs, Russell Westbrook, a vet. So you were like, okay, we believe they can do that 4 times. And the Knicks, can they do that 4 times theoretically? Yes, but like, I think it'd probably be a 50-50 in close games, and the Pacers are probably blowing them out 1. So, like, at that point, it's going to be really difficult for you to convince me they're winning.
I think we can book that the Pacers are getting 1 blowout.
Yeah, like, and
that it's probably at home too. Like, it's probably in
game 3 or 4, or maybe both. Like,
it could be. It could be.
And the Pacers are coming off 2 5-game series where were they decently-ish physical? Sure, they played some close games, but like. Boston, that was a tough series, and then they came off a tough 6-game series against the Pistons. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Pacers, and talking myself down. I'm gonna say 6. I'm gonna give respect to the Knicks, but I'm talking myself into 5. But I got Pacers in 6.
I do want to
the Knicks. Oh, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I do want to piggyback off that. Like, if you think of like. When I think of the Pacers, like they have like ultimate team chemistry. Like, that's a huge thing. Like, obviously, it's a huge thing in every sport, but like more so in basketball. Like, if you have 5 guys, and even they really have 10 guys that are just all on the same page, that's
Mhm.
like if you're hitting your shots, playing good defense, like that is hard to beat. Like that, I think that's one thing that's underrated about the Pacers is that I feel like their team chemistry, like, is just bar none.
I
They're
agree.
they're shooting 50% in the playoffs and shooting 40% from three. They're leading the playoffs in shooting percentages from the 3-point line and from the field, and they're leading the league in assists. They're leading in assists. Best assist to turnover ratio. They're about point differential. They're about 5th. We got like golly, like this team's just really good. But go on, Kyle.
I'll give my prediction real quick because it's easy to tell where I'm leaning. I completely agree with Keenan.
Knicks
The
in 5.
Knicks,
So Kyle's
I want to
I'm
say
kidding.
Pacers in 5, but I'm going to give the Knicks their respect. If they can get 4 on the Celtics, why can't they get 2 on the Pacers kind of thing? I just, matchup wise, I just keep coming back. Like, it's weird, Keenan. A lot of the times I'm thinking, like, I picture them as last year's team where it's like a lot of Brunson in the fourth quarter. Like, I still don't imagine Cat on the team, even though he's been on the team the whole time, because he spent so much time off the floor with foul trouble. So I should be able to factor this in, like it's Brunson and Cat versus the Pacers. But I'm really thinking more Brunson on offense and not a lot else. What's good for the Knicks, if you want to, because this almost sounds like a Knicks hate fest. I'm not trying to make it that, but what's good for the Knicks is their wings are playing at such a high level right now. All 3 of Bridges, OG, and Josh Hart, who always brings it, they're playing at an extremely high level. That being said, if this was a true Tibbs team, like Tom Thibodeau team, this would be the perfect foil for the Pacers, who play at extreme pace, right? Tibbs wants to slow it down. Tibbs wants to play a knock, more like the Timberwolves, in OKC. That's a kind of version of basketball he wants to play. Thing is, the personnel is more offensive. The wings will be ready. If Towns can stay out of foul trouble, that'll be the big thing. If Towns can consistently stay out of foul trouble, Knicks could make this a 7-game series. We've just never seen that in Towns' career. And then on top of that, they only have one center. It's literally like Brandon said, it's Mitch Robinson, Deuce McBride. And Deuce McBride's like, weirdly enough, this is a fitting series for him. He can actually get off in this series. But you need Brunson to play at the highest of high levels in this series. And then you would need 25 and 12, truly, 25 and 10 from Towns to really to make this a series. Now, as we've said, you're going to hear a lot of Knicks love this week. It's going to be a Knicks fest. It's going to be a lot of nostalgia back to the Pacers-Knicks rivalry of the 90s and 2000s. Pacers are an underdog right now at most books for this series. Like, go and grab that. Whoever you are, go and grab that. I'll make a proposal to y'all right now. Let's pull some money and throw something at this series because, like, that's literally just saying, like, hey, take our money. Go ahead, throw money at the Knicks, all you guys who want the Knicks to win, because that's the most public. Just like how the Lakers were favored against the T-Wolves in round 1, it's exactly what this is here.
And
Knicks
let them win
vision.
game 1 too. Let the Knicks win game 1, and then even then double down, literally double down. Just because, like, if the Knicks win game 1 off of just the high of winning game 6 and having a home conference finals game, and they win game 1, which is very possible. I'm not saying the Knicks can't win a game in this series. I'm gonna doubling down, just throw the money. But Kyle, last thing I want to say on this whole thing, and maybe the last thing we say here, Karl Anthony Towns fouls these playoffs in order: 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 4, 4. He since game 1 of the playoffs, he hasn't gotten less than 4 fouls, and that's against team. That Boston doesn't always love to get to the paint. That was the one thing that we didn't like about that. This Pistons team was young, but obviously even the Pistons team could get downhill, obviously, into the paint. This is a seasoned offense that's going to get to the paint, but also get its threes and also get in transition. He's getting in foul trouble every game.
Towns had some big shots in the first round, too, and played better against the Celtics.
Oh, yeah, that fadeaway he had against on the corner and then the big 3 against Detroit. Like, no, he played well. It's not that Cat can't play. It's literally just that he needs to stay on the floor. It's just like, can you make, like, and he's been playing like 34, 35 minutes in these games, but like 34, I'm sorry, is not enough. 34 is not enough. 40 minutes is what you need to play against this team. 40 to 41. Like 34 is not enough.
Other point I want to make about both series, and I'll leave you with this. This one leads more towards Indiana Knicks. After tomorrow, after Monday, both conference final series, there's no nights off. Like one game or there's one night in between. So Western Conference one night, Eastern Conference. So one night of rest in between. That bodes so well for the Pacers. In the case of the T-Wolves Thunder, like now I'm thinking, I said like you're gonna see some low scoring games. Like it might get truly ugly towards the back half of that series, just how they play. Knicks and Pacers, man, every other night, I mean, we really could see, like, I'd forgotten about that point. We really could see the Pacers get him out of there in 5 just because of that. Especially if it's like 1-1 and Pacers get both at home. It would be tough.
They got the Bucks out of there in 5 with Halliburton taking Giannis to the cup in Game 5. They got the Cavs out of there in Game 5 with them coming back from about 16-point deficit in like 3 minutes. It felt like, because Halliburton got crazy from 3. Like he's got a little bit of killer instinct in him. Like when you can put a team when you can put a team away, it's like, okay, we're not going to play around. We're going to put this team away. Because Game 5 against Cleveland showed you that. Because that was a game where it's like, okay, they're up. They're pretty hot early. Try to keep it close, and then maybe we'll just go back home and win it in Game 6. And they were like, no, we're putting it away, and we're putting it away now. We're not playing around with this. We don't want to get in a situation. And that's also when you have the championship coach on your roster. Like, let's not play around with this. Like, I don't. We've seen teams lose, obviously, like big lead 3-1 lead. Like, let's not play around. Let's just go put this team away. And they went and put the team away. And so I'm going to say 6 out of respect for Jalen Brunson and how good that starting 5 is, but it would not shock me it'd be 5. Would not shock me to be 5 at all.
I have a closing question for both of you. I don't know if y'all watched the game. Anyone watch Fever versus Sky yesterday?
Of course I did. Are you kidding me? I didn't write on that game. I actually wrote on Paige Becker's first game, but I'm writing WNBA stuff now for the college or for Pro Football Sports Network. Let's go. But yeah, I watched the game.
Thoughts?
The best team in Indiana.
Reviews?
Brandon, I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'm gonna talk about the best team in Indiana, best team playing basketball.
I didn't actually sit down and watch it. Like I had my phone near me. Like I was on YouTube TV. Like I saw like bits and clips of it and stuff. Like I know Caitlin Clark had another triple double. That's like 3 so far in less than 50 games or something.
She's got like the third most 20-point triple doubles all time. Other people have done it in hundreds of games. She's done it in 41. So yeah, this is Caitlin being Caitlin.
10 assists, 10 rebounds, and what? 3 blocks, 4 blocks, or 5?
She was like, I think 3.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I went back and like watched some of the highlights and stuff like that, and like it was a rout. Like that was also an ugly game too.
For sure. I'm gonna go real quick before you. I found myself at home yesterday. I was expecting to work, didn't, and I'm like, oh shit! Like this game's on. Like let me just throw it on, right? So I throw it on. Caught the end of, I think it was Liberty. Who they play? I think they played the Aces.
Yeah, that was a good game too.
My girl Marine's back in the league, so you know I had to show support. So, but I'm like, let me watch this Fever game. Like I ain't got nothing going on. Like, see what's going on here. And look, the Pacers. I said how like the Pacers have like a home court advantage. Like Indiana's like a real basketball state. Indianapolis is a real basketball city. Like they're good fans on the level of like the Knicks and the old Oracle. Like they're smart fans. Celtics fans too. They're smart fans. Fever got that. Like it feels like MSG when the Fever are playing. Like Caitlin is a true star, and it's going to be really interesting to watch her career trajectory. It really is. The way the fans reacted to her, like when she's going behind the back or throws a flashy pass, and like she's truly like a mix of like Steve Nash and Steph Curry. Like she's a great point guard. Like I was it was fun to watch. Like, I actually had a good time watching that game, and they tailored that
She's
team.
what Trae Young should be in the league. Like she's
She's
a better version of Trae Young, and I say that because Trae Young obviously was compared to Steph, but he had like elite level passing coming out of Oklahoma. So like it's like a better version of Trae Young comparatively to NBA to WNBA.
What I would say the difference is though the team's completely built around her. They got like a pick threat, and then it's shooters around her. So like that's kind of what Trae should have around him in a way. So she just has passing lanes all over. And she's got the crowd in her hand, and then she's pulling up from deep, and it really does sound like what the Garden's going to sound like if you find the Knicks. I know we just kind of shit on the Knicks for like a half hour, but you find that you had all see the Knicks up 10 on Indy at MSG, like that's what it sounds like at the Fevers Arena. I think it's the same place that the Pacers play. Actually, I think they share the field house. That's what it's like there. Like they have true energy, true great fans. Like it's a dope team to watch. Like they're a fun team to watch. They play a cool brand of basketball, and I will be tuning into more Caitlin Clark games for sure. She was fun to watch last year, but a very fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, so they last year obviously, and I talked about this when we were talking about it last year. She was coming off of playing college basketball all year into going as deep as you possibly can. She played in the national championship game to getting drafted about 10 days later to then training camp 2 weeks later and then into a full WNBA season with a bunch of grown women who are ready and prepared for their moment to go at Caitlin Clark. And then she was like, wait, I'm not playing it Unrivaled. I'm going to take off the whole summer. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to work out. You can clearly see she's stronger. She's going to just now, she had time off and she's not worrying about school. Like that, obviously, I mean, as all of us have been worried about homework. Like she was a very good student. Like homework takes time. So like she doesn't have to worry about that. She doesn't worry about anything, but literally it's like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go sit with Taylor Swift at the Chiefs, at the AFC Championship game. I'm going to go play some golf. I'm going to go work out for 3 hours, play some basketball, and go home. And now she's going to go take the league by storm. Like she could average close to a triple-double. I don't know. I don't think she's going to average a triple-double because I don't think she'd get the rebounds wise, but I could easily see 22, 7, and 10. I could see something crazy. I mean, and they're playing 40-minute games too, so that's insane stat wise. But like that team and
Caitlin Clark to win MVP odds, I can't find any.
She's plus 210. I want to say. I think she's the favorite, and Nafisa Collier is right behind her at plus 240. And
I can't find the books though. Like they're not readily available. So I'm mad.
That's weird because it was on FanDuel the other day because I actually think she's winning MVP this year. It's going to be her and Nafisa probably, but no, they got DeWanna Bonner who can stretch the floor. They got Natasha Howard, a big who can run the floor. Aaliyah Boston's already there, really good. Kelsey Mitchell, someone who the unsung, she put up like 3,300 in her collegiate career. Like she's like top 5 all time in D1 scoring too. Like she's on that list. So like that team, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, like they've got a perfect roster built around her. And honestly, NBA GMs, look, I don't know the Indiana Fever GM offhand. I should, but like what their GM did was like, oh wait, we've got this girl here who's really good and can go win. Let's just build everything around her now. And so they did. And now they have the chance to go compete with the Liberty, with the Aces, with the Lynx to go get themselves a WNBA championship. And I cannot wait to see it. And I'm going to say it again for people who did not see our end of the year pod. I predicted that the WNBA finals was going to have more views than the NBA finals this year. And I was expecting it because it was going to be OKC Boston at that point, and it was going to be smaller market team in OKC and Boston, and people were going to like it, but it wasn't going to be Steph or LeBron, so they weren't going to get there. Now it might be Indiana and like Minnesota or something. I mean, because I have Indiana, Minnesota. We all have Indiana. Kyle has a Minnesota. You have OKC. Let that be Liberty and Fever. Let that be Aces Fever. I'm telling you what, that's going to be higher ratings. Also, shout out to the Golden State Valkyries. That crowd was insane. That crowd was they were getting, that Golden State crowd was getting.
What'd you think of the Caitlin Clark foul?
I thought that it was a very big overreaction. all over. I think that was just like,
Yeah.
here's Kyle. I'm not gonna lie, that foul reminded me a little bit of you. And here's why I say this. And I say this for a reason. There's times when we're playing basketball and like you'll get frustrated with something and you'll just take a hard take foul that's nothing malicious and you're not trying to be like, you're not trying to hurt anybody, but you've done it to me before and it's been fun. Like you've just like, you'll get annoyed with your team or your team will do something and then you'll be a take foul. Angel Reese pushed Natasha Howard in the back. Caitlin literally looked like, what was that? We're not going to call that. Sees Angel and just goes for the ball and just hard take foul. Angel fell and then she gets up and she's talking to Caitlin. Caitlin's just walking away like, I'm not with it. Like I'm not trying to act like I'm about it. Like, I just fouled you. I didn't think it was a flagrant, but it was what it is. What it is.
I was not prepared to be compared to Caitlin Clark on today's podcast, but I'll take it. I'll take being compared to the great Caitlin Clark. I thought it was a very interesting foul. Quickly, just to talk about the overreaction. The overreaction is insane. I went and looked on Twitter, and it was like, it wasn't even people who watch basketball who were all talking about it. It was ridiculous. They made it into something that was just what it's not. Like people are ridiculous. I don't want to say too much more, maybe get us canceled, but people are unbelievably ridiculous on there. Like, again, it was
100%.
clearly not even basketball fans who were talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. It was super weird. That being said, the foul itself, I took note of it. That was not just any take foul. That she made a point that it was Angel Reese. I've seen enough Caitlin Clark games to say this. I've never seen her foul anybody like that. And the fact that she turned her back after, she kind of stared down Angel a little bit. When she went down to the ground, you can see on camera she gave her a look. And then once she saw Angel get up, she kind of turned her back and was like, whatever. There was some intent to that foul. I'm not sure what that intent was.
I think it was because she pushed Natasha Howard in the back, like on that play, like she got,
right.
And then
before.
like because she looked and literally was like, "Ref, we're not calling that," and then got like, "I'm mad now." Like, don't hit my teammate kind of thing.
Angel Reese did get away with the push on that exact play. You're right.
I don't think it was specifically because it was like, oh, I don't like Angel Reese, but you know what? I don't think it was I don't know. I hope she doesn't.
It was evil. I don't think there was like even any evil intent behind it. Like
I wish there was.
I agree with that. I agree with that. One thing I'll say, Keenan and Brandon, what I keep coming away with when I watch more and more of these WNBA games, and I said this to you, Keenan, last year, like when there is a moment like that where someone gets hard fouled and then you got like players like kind of getting each other's face or whatever, it feels so much more genuine than the NBA. And maybe it's because in the NBA where like two players will look at each other and then you got like four assistant coaches running up when they're probably not even trying to fight, honestly. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. This one, like, I don't know, they let it go, they let it breathe a little bit more, and it feels like 90s and 2000s basketball, or the basketball I grew up with.
I think it's because there's no malice in the palace, to be quite honest with you.
That's
I think
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That is what the NBA is trying to prevent.
Yeah.
I think it's just because, like, with women, they're not, like, even if there's a couple punches thrown, it's not going to be, like, to that extent, and they're like, okay, we're just going to, like, we think. I don't know if that's
the WNBA would be insane.
Oh,
you can't get much more insane than
so many weaves would be pulled out. It's not even funny.
I don't even want to think about what that would, but that would be such a just nasty look if you had like
Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club. If you had just an assortment of fans fighting women, that would be the worst possible look for the league. So
it would be so terrible. My
God. I don't know. The WNBA they have a good product on their hands. I said that a million times last year. I'll continue to say that. Like the 2 hours I spent watching WNBA yesterday, I just continue to leave saying like, wow, they have a great product on their hands. Whether it's regular season, whether it's postseason, if you're looking to compare it to the NBA, don't watch because you're missing the point. But if you just want to see good basketball, entertaining basketball, and just competitiveness, like it's a good hang. It's a good like 2 hours from your Saturday. Got nothing going on.
Absolutely, it's just really good basketball. And this year's rookie class overall, top to bottom, might be better than last year's rookie class. Like last year's rookie class was really
Number
good.
2 pick can drop step dunk.
Yeah, no, she's going to be insane here soon. Sonia Citron and Kiki Iriafen for the Washington Mystics already are like Kiki's averaging like 16 and 8 over her first 2 games, and Sonia Citron put up like 9 points in the fourth quarter today and put her team on her back when she needed to. Like the draft this year has some talent, like, and it's only gonna get more talent because in a couple years we're about to see Juju Watkins enter the league, and then it's gonna be Aaliyah Chavez and Jada Williams. Like, there's just more talent coming, and it's the same way as like when you see someone do something for the first time, you think, oh, I can do it. So like when Steph started shooting threes, it's like, oh, I can start taking threes from there. Now you can see people take threes from deep with regularity. It's like, oh, I can now be a WNBA player, get my name up and actually be really good and like have fun and do something. Okay. Now you're going to see these women who are age 5, like, I really need to get to the W, rather than being like, oh, I can maybe play in college. So you're going to just get women who are even more and more great. And then obviously you see people like Paige too. She had a pretty solid debut. I actually wrote about that. As I said, I rated it a B- for Paige. She had a B-.
It was solid, but not spectacular.
It wasn't spectacular.
It's like 10 points, couple rebounds.
She had 10 points, 7 rebounds, which led her team, which was impressive. 2 assists, but she could have been more. They played the Lynx. Nafisa Collier was a woman amongst girls. She had 34 points, 17 in the third or 18 in the third. Like, she kind of did whatever she wants to because she's the clear cut second best player in the WNBA now. She's overtaken Brianna Stewart, and then Caitlin Clark is, by the end of the year, will probably be could be close to number 2, 3. Caitlin Clark's 5 right now, probably like for top 5 easy. She's probably 4, 3, 4, depending on who you talk. I know Kyle's not a Brianna Stewart fan, so Caitlin would be 3, not 2.
Was it so Asia?
Okay, I was just saying Asia's 1, and that's not debatable by any single person, including like if you ask Caitlin herself, I think she might be like probably the best. But I get if people say in Asia, like, Asia's just 1, and then after that, I think Nafisa's like 2, and then Caitlin's 3. I think there's just a little bit more maturation because Nafisa, I believe, won Defensive Player of the Year last year and has like that high level defensive capabilities plus the offense.
Why?
No, she can do literally anything. And then Brianna Stewart's great. Alyssa Thomas is great. I could go on, but I can stop before I go on too much WNBA stuff.
Marine Johannes, top 5 dead or alive. Listen, this was the Warner Brothers podcast. We will be back very soon. Brandon and I might be back tomorrow to talk music. We don't have a topic yet, but that can be easily arranged. We'll probably have a topic very soon. That being said, then you'll have post-game reactions for us pretty frequently, with the games being every night for the next 2 weeks or however long those series may or may not go. We hope for a healthy series on both sides of the coin on each conference, but we shall see. But you got our predictions, right? We got all our predictions in, correct?
Yes, we did.
Perfect. Well, hey, we'll be back. Continue the support. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. We're out of here.